Okay, so hello year 10. I'm going to try and do a demonstration for you looking at how we're going to compile some fashion images in the style of Martha Haversham. So as you can see, I've cut out a fashion image from a magazine that I had, and all I'm really interested in cutting away today is the model's head and the model's arm, and I'm going to use items that I find around the house to create some new garments, using sort of things like I've got some roses that someone sent to me for my birthday, so they're actually starting to die off a little bit now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some of the petals off, and I'm going to use those petals to create a dress. Okay, so from the image, I've got myself a small pair of scissors. They are actually embroidery scissors, and I would usually say don't use embroidery scissors for anything other than embroidery threads, but because they're quite a nice sort of small pair of scissors, I'm going to use these so I can get quite close to the image. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go really close to the image, as close as I possibly can, and I am going to cut around the edge of the image, and I'm just going to cut the head of the model. Okay, so I just want the image of the head of the model as close as I possibly can. Now I'm actually going to cut off that bit there, because what the style of the dress that I want, I don't really want that hoop earring in my image. So I've gone as close as I possibly can to the picture, and I'm actually going to cut off now the head. Okay, so that's the image that I will be sticking down on my page. Okay, I'm also going to leave the other parts, so the arms, I might use those later on, so I'm going to leave that to one side. Now I'm just going to pause the video and I'll be back in a few minutes with the petals from the roses that I'm going to pull apart. Okay, so to make it a little bit easier, what I thought I would do, to make sure I've got the shape of the bodice, I've actually cut the bodice away from the same image that I have cut the head from. I've also cut the arms away, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to roughly sketch around the shape of the bodice just to get the right length and rough shape. Okay, so that's that, and now I can discard that, I can put that to one side. Okay, so you can see her head will fit there, and we're going to make the dress out of some other items. So I've kept some chocolate wrappers from Christmas, so I've kept those, and I thought that would make quite a nice colour. I've got the yellow wrapper to go over the top, but what I'm going to do is start to rip up, if we can. Can't rip it, so we'll cut it. So trim the silver papers, and I'm going to start to get those in position. I think roughly position that one like that. Keep her head to the side for now, and I will put that one, fits in quite nicely there. Okay, and then I'm going to fill in these other areas. So I will get my glue stick in a second. I'll just cut these into smaller strips, I think, because what I want to do, is just to build up a surface that I'm then going to place this over the top, because I want this lovely yellow colour, because the petals that I'm actually going to be building up the skirt of the dress that I'm designing here have actually turned, these were red originally and they've now dried and they've gone to these lovely shades of yellow. Okay, so I'm going to build those up for the skirt in a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to go and get the glue. Okay, so I actually haven't got any glue at home and I need to buy some. I thought I had some in my art stash, but I haven't. So in my art stash I have found these glue dots. Okay, so these are just from Hobbycraft. They're glue dots and they are little dots of glue that you peel away and they basically stick anything down. Okay, so I'm just going to peel one of those off, very sticky. Okay, I'm going to pop that at the top there and just smooth it out if I can. I've already stuck one down here and I'm going to just put that piece in position. And I think what I'll do is get another glue dot, stick it on the page down here where I want it roughly to stick to, because these don't have to stick and permanently. Okay, you're just putting the papers in position to secure it enough for you, once you've put your composition together, for you to take a photograph that you're then going to upload into a program that you can then change filters and things on the actual picture. Okay, ooh, I'm losing a head there. Okay, so let's put another dot on down here. Okay, so I am going to now put this one across and join it to around here. I can remember I can just stick a head over the top where it's going to go. Let's see, it should fit around there, so we're going to put, yeah, fit it in around there. Okay, so that's going to look to begin with. Let's get another piece down here and I might just tear that off if I can, or cut it. Thought I could tear it but I can't, so I'm just going to cut it. Okay, that's fine. And get another glue dot. They come in really handy. They just stick things down. So it's getting that bodice now. You can start to see the shape of the bodice coming together. I think what I will do is just put one on here and get another piece of that foil stuck down there, trim it, a bit short there. I think what I will do as well is I will actually try and trim this a little bit to get the neckline. Okay, and I can put the head over the top in a moment. Stick this last bit here. Okay, fill that gap. Okay, so maybe a few more dots, a few more glue dots just to secure it in position. So I'm building up the shape, rough shape of a bodice. I think we've got a little bit more here. Let me just see if I've got another one of those wrappers. Okay, got some other foil that can just sort of fit in here. Okay, so that's going to go about there. Okay, and that will finish off roughly the shape of the bodice. So I'll pause the video and then start again in a second. Okay, so as I said, I don't want the bodice to be this silver. I actually want it to be this golden colour. So I'm going to have to cut the shape of the bodice now. So I'm actually going to place the chocolate wrapper over the bodice, roughly, and start to trim away the excess of the wrapper. I think that neckline has got to, I'm going to try and draw it on, hoping you can see this. I'll draw that on in place. I'll pick up my scissors again. It is quite fiddly, and I want you to take your time with the images that you're going to create. This is just my example. You don't have to use the same materials. Right, keep that position again roughly, and I'm going to bring this up here and cut away to there. Now remove any of the excess. Oops, sticking to my glue. Let's cut, okay, cut this neckline. Okay, and hopefully that should now stick roughly over the bodice, which it does. Okay, so I'm actually going to get one more of my glue dots. If you have a Pritt stick or a glue stick at home or any PVA, you could do this with PVA. It's just literally to try and secure fiddly bits to the paper. You don't have to secure everything. I'm not going to be securing the skirt petals. They're the petals for the skirt. I'm only actually securing this bodice because the foil that I've used and obviously the wrapper from the chocolate will move around quite easily. So I've now got the basic bodice shape in position. Now I'm going to be putting her head in that kind of position as well. So I'm quite happy with that underneath the collar, the neckline there. So what I will do, again, just stick one of these glue dots there and one at the bottom. Stick that underneath, roughly in the right position. There we go. So got a head in position now. Okay, now as you can see, let's move the rubbish over to the side there. As you can see, I have actually cut her arms out ready as well, so I'll be putting her arms in position in a little while. But I think what I'm going to do firstly is actually try to put her skirt in position, I think. Or should I stick those down? No, let's stick those down. They look, no, I could stick them down at the top. It's very much thinking as we're working, so, and that's absolutely fine to do that. You don't have to have this all planned out. You can play around with the materials that you're using until you're happy with them. I'm happy with that glue there. Let's stick that there. So you can play around. I'm not happy with that. I'm going to try and peel this off. I don't like that blob of glue. Okay, so always just keep playing around with it until you're happy with it. Okay, try not to rip the parts of the figure that you've spent time cutting out though. Okay, let's get this in position. Okay, so that's one arm at the top. I'm not going to secure it at the bottom here. I'm just securing it at the top. This one I think I'll put in later on. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I've decided I'm going to start building up my skirt for this design now. And so, as I've said, I'm using my petals that I was given some beautiful flowers for my birthday. Sadly, they've all dried out now, and what was beautiful deep red has actually turned to these sort of shades of yellow. But I really like the way you can see the different colours of yellow, the different tones and that of yellow in the petals. So I'm going to build these up now. I'm going to layer them to create the shape of a long skirt. I think what I'm going to make is more like a ball gown. Okay, so it's going to be in the shape of a very full skirt. Okay, bodice at the top, full skirt, right the way out to the bottom. I'm going to build up these petals until I get the shape of the skirt that I want. So I'm going to build up layers. So put that layer there. As I say, it's quite fiddly. I'm not expecting it to be perfect straight away. Play around until you get the items that you're going to be using to create your designs. Play around with them until you are happy. Okay, and that's the beauty of this project actually. Nothing is right and nothing is wrong. I just want you to experiment. So I'm actually going to put the hold the video now, and I'm going to build these up slightly rather than film all of this. I will come back to you when I've built up the skirt. Okay, so that's how I've chosen to build up the petals of the roses. I've tried to create some sort of darker areas around here to create some sort of shadow in the skirt, trying to make the skirt look as realistic as possible. But that's just a simple idea that I've put together using some papers that I've had from leftover chocolates that I've kept from Christmas, some rose petals that are now dried out. You can actually see the colour they were originally, that deep sort of burgundy, and they've dried to this sort of warm golden colour. And I've just used a page from a magazine where I've cut out the head of the figure and the arms, and I think it's made quite a nice design. So what I will do now is once I've finished videoing this, I'm going to be taking a photograph of this image and I'm going to be saving it in my files, because I'm going to be adapting those images later on using different features. Maybe I could put it through a filter through Instagram, or if I've got Photoshop I could use Photoshop, but I'll be talking to you more about that later on in a different lesson. But this is what I would like you to aim for. You don't have to do this kind of design. The designs can be anything you want, okay? But we are going to be working on creating 4 images. I want you to create 4 different fashion designs using things that you find rubbish, or things lying around the house. You will be looking at the PowerPoint in more detail, where you will look in to see what the artist actually uses in her designs. So that will give you some more inspiration about what you can use to create your work. Okay, I hope this was useful, and I'll see you all soon.